Good evening, TNT family. We are back here with Yellow the Code, and I have Mr. Suman Singh with me. And we had a little chance to listen to the press conference today. Yeah, so we had a chance to listen to the press conference a little bit today, and I mean, I am very impressed. I am very impressed with what I saw because everything we were asking for and calling for, it has hit the ground. I'm very proud of our team there, our Prime Minister, on this press conference today. I am confident. I am excited to see what happens. I mean, things are rolling out, and I really appreciate what I'm seeing taking place. So, Mr. Singh, how you feel about that?
Well, first, let me say good evening to all the listeners online as well as on the live. I was very, very impressed, and I concur exactly what you said, Gary, that this is a new dispensation for administration in the island. The competency which the ministers, it's just barely a week and a half, have been on the job is they seem to hit the ball exactly on its head. Is most of them have identified what the problem is in the particular ministries and which and have prioritized. Let me say that they have prioritized what should be done in the first place, second place, and so on. So a lot of the ministers in the various ministries are engaged, in trying to solve the country's problems. And today's press conference was very heartening, especially when they look at one of the main issues that was discussed was the reorganization of WASA. And I was impressed with, and also surprised at the fantastic salaries that these 34, 35 managers were receiving in the $100,000 plus range. And yet, the three-quarters of the country doesn't have water, especially the eastern part, which they identified from Toko to Mayaro, central, meaning the lower central part, Princestown and Moruga, as well as the southwestern peninsula. So imagine you have 34 high-paying senior technocrats receiving $100,000 per salary, and three-quarters of the country don't have water on a regular basis. Like in Moruga, for example, is once in 30 days, 30 odd days, and some places are longer than that. So I think action is being taken, and I think the public on the whole will feel heartened by such a move. Also,
Our ministers are so engaged in trying to recover our economy. I mean, we have Mr. Sarat Singh already in Washington trying to
yeah,
work out some funding for us,
yeah,
and
financial details.
yeah,
Yes.
and I mean, you understand that quite a bit, and it's. I mean, I am so satisfied all way around. In every aspect, in the handling. I mean, look at what took place with the Shawanas North Secondary School, and how quickly it was resolved. Um, the collaboration, is like everybody was on one page. It was not helter skelter like Dr. Rowley's administration there. I mean, things they got on the move. It was resolved in a jiffy, and the population will start to recognize what they actually voted for, and it might be a little bit of deja vu of what took place between 2010 and 2015. In the level of efficiency and performance that they had. And they would realize, listen, we don't want to lose this next time around.
Yeah,
Because I mean, to see Khadija on ball, Jolene John, Ravi Ratiram, Barry Padarat. I mean, the AG, of Minister of Finance and his team.
Ministry of
So
Industry, Investment and Tourism, Trade
right,
and
right. So everything is formulated simultaneously,
yeah,
and I mean that is the kind of action I wanted to see happen. And I mean, we got what we asked for,
yeah. It's a
basically.
very coordinated and a structured approach, and I like that. I really like that approach, so
Right.
that this ministry knows exactly what that ministry is doing and doesn't cut across boundaries and generate conflicts, and then the public gets into it. Why they just pave the road and they dig it up back here and there, and that's this sort of duplication can be eliminated to a large extent once you have that interministerial teams going
Right.
forward.
I've seen they cut over here. I mean, where I live here in New Jersey, and they would cut about maybe 3 feet wide, yeah, about 3 feet wide, a trench,
Uh-huh.
and they would refill that trench and compact it and pave it evenly with the road as it was before. You will see the fresh pavement, but
Hmm.
the levelness and how they fixed back that entrenchment there, to do the work is amazingly. And they have this little small steamroller kind
Yeah,
of
yeah.
machine.
I,
And I mean, as fast as they fix the thing that they're fixing,
yeah,
but
and
is the luck.
you don't feel it in your car when you're driving it over. Normally you feel a bump or a sink or something like that. It's
Well,
so smooth that it.
we don't have potholes in Trinidad. We have lakes. But it's the attitude, the Doke Dam kind of attitude that they have no consideration. They have operated with no consideration towards anybody. The prime minister have operated with absolutely came from the top down. That behavior is contagious. you
Yes.
know,
Yeah.
and no concern for others. You take what you want the best for yourself, and you leave the rest to catch. And we've seen this with this Wasa hiring on Marvin Gonzalez there,
Yeah.
where Barry said it was a top-heavy management system that put in place where everybody reaping and living large, and while the workers were suffering, and they were planning to lay off. There was plans to lay off these workers, but
But
some people are asking the question like if Mrs. B says they're going to lay off people, why didn't chastise the previous government like that?
correct, and a lot of them were concerned, but I think Mr. Paderat put them at ease to let them know that is a 34 senior high level executive is under investigation and who may be terminated. Because that he says will save them $30 million right at the top. Now, how can we do that? How can you have such a top heavy management when you have a national transformation plan for WASA, which which the goal was to cut middle managers and so on and make the operations more linear. Yet you did the opposite. So he is accusing the UNC now of you know hijacking the national transformational plan. So that is a stupid argument as far as I'm concerned. On one hand, you're telling me, let's make the operation leaner, make some cost cutting savings and so on can be incurred. Yet you're hiring these high end, high paid managers to do what? You see, the the water situation didn't get better by hiring these people. So what's the use of hiring them?
They bring their friends and family and associates to reap the best. That was the objective. There was not an improvement of any performance and service delivery.
So from now on, let's say the UNC changes their scenario and everything must be tied into outputs. I always say that outcomes. Has this outcome improved or increased? If the answer is yes, then you have a justification why you did this or why you employed X, Y, and Z and you terminated A, B, and C. So there is justification based on performance, based on delivery. And for too long, we just hire people just because of, affiliations and, as you say, friends and family. That was the notion of hiring these people. And they were not, let me tell you, they were not low-end workers. They were high-end
I mean, as
workers.
far as
We
I
don't
hear,
know
and they got
what
vehicles, they got this, they got that, and all kind of allowance. Welcome, Sally Ramlogan. Welcome, Lindsay, to back to our program on Yellow the Code.
yes. So that was a very interesting session today. I really enjoyed it. I saw where the Prime Minister alone did not hug the limelight, but she allowed the line ministers to answer, which is good. That means they are working. That means they have to apprise themselves of what's going
Vast
on.
difference in leadership style. Vast difference, and there is no comparison. And they have the audacity to talk about our Prime Minister.
Well, they talk a lot of things. Nothing is evidence based, you know that. Everything is just word of mouth. Something comes out from their mouth. That's it. That's evidence for them. But
Well, I have seen now where this election has taken place and our prime minister is in place and our cabinet is performing, that those who ran their mouth have to swallow their tongue now. They have to
well,
swallow their tongue. I also I'm very proud to see PSA leader Felicia Thomas is standing by our prime minister because she's confident. She's within the group discussions there, so she knows what's going on. She's seen the best. She expected the best.
right,
She
right,
expected
right.
the best, and it's rolling out. She's seen it. You know,
And
and nobody will be able to make any kind of mischief and confusion here, and send and spread misinformation when it comes to her because she will be right there to fix them.
I think anybody who has their country at heart will see the light eventually because uh,
Exactly.
this, the the plans are good. And by the way, they have converted the manifestos into a manifesto that will be the groundwork for the development plans of Trinidad and Tobago. Today, she mentioned that as well. So that was good. The manifestos they had for the various ministries. Remember, they didn't have no one any large document, but a number of smaller documents which were ministry specific. So that will be in by merging all of them will be the new development plan for TNT, which will be the UNC manifesto going forward. So that is good. Anyway, Gary, I want to talk about something which is dear and near to my heart. It's the laptop project. I see.
Yeah,
I
18,000. Go ahead. I was waiting for that. Go ahead.
I was looking to hear that when it's going to be delivered and so on. It's 18,000 laptops. And while that is not for all, I mean, there are not as much students as laptops. Generally, we give administrators and so on laptops, school teachers and so on laptops who do the training. So it's both for administrative and the children, administrative staff and the children, and teachers and principals and what have you. Plus, the ministry always have a couple hundred to keep as a backup stock should children lose or they break or stolen and so on their individual laptops. So that's a good initiative. I was so pleased they have already engaged iGov TT to be like the lead on this project. I personally think they should have a couple of people from the ministry who will also lead and be part of that team to apprise the minister on a very frequent basis as to the flow of information as with respect to the delivery and the purchase and so on. These things have to go, they have to do what's called the RFPs for the request for proposal, and send it out for tendering and so on. And then an evaluation committee will evaluate it. And then you place the order. Then you got the order you're placing, you have to ensure that you get it with certain software and so on included. I heard, sorry, Minister Dowlat is also saying that there will be an AI component in the laptop themselves, so that is even more
The Prime Minister
far-sighted.
confirmed that too. She confirmed that.
Yeah, that's a very far-sighted approach, and it augurs well for the children entering secondary school. They will definitely have a heads up on, let's say, the past 5 years, the students over the past 5 years who did not have that luxury. But and I wouldn't say a luxury really, but that important piece of technology for them to further their education in the technological field. So this ACA group who will be going into secondary school should really be thankful that the new party has come into power and have honored their pledge on the political hustings that they will provide the laptop project. And mind you,
That was all intention. We had that. We were serious about that. Mrs. Bisesa and her team didn't come into government to play games. She came in there to fix things, and fixing it, she said she will do. So there's a couple things to be sorted out, and we will eventually find out, who benefited from our treasury, and we will deal with that at some point down the road. But
definitely.
the AI has been incorporated in these laptops for these kids, and they're updating the system where you can search and find, where's the hospital, where's the restaurant, where's this, where is that. You'll be able to, all that information will be updated into the network infrastructure where you can find these things.
Yeah, and that's good. Not doing that. Anything. Even you're driving into a, not only for kids, I don't know, you know that we have Google Maps and
Yeah,
why.
Google search. Maybe we need to create a search engine called TNT Search along the line.
Yeah, that'd be nice. So when you're driving around, you don't know these streets and so on, especially you live in Southwest and you're going Northeast. The balance is stress, what it is, or, why is it booked as something dangerous, a dangerous road to drive on, all these things you can, if you know or if you can see it on your Google Maps, you can see, yes, man, I got to be careful here because I always read about accidents in this road. What is the problem?
But
So,
Google Maps has to be updated because when you go to Trinidad, it could mislead you a little bit sometimes.
yeah,
So you
yeah,
have to cross it. Yeah.
I tried using it back home.
So we need to update that information into the system, so that they're corrected, and
Yeah.
TNT needs to work with Google. And like I said, we could create our own search engine too.
You see, that was the whole digitization and digitalization project. It's technology based. So whoever was responsible for that for the past 10 years, you know what they did? Nothing.
Nothing but stagnation, suppression, oppression, depression. I mean, that's the feel in the country about how people feeling, a relief, a sense of relief. And I
Yeah,
mean, you're seeing the patients and the people that they know what they expect from this government. They know because they've seen it before. But this is not talk. I mean, and we already started walking the talk. I mean, seeing that Khadija is trying to put things in place, the resources for when there's a disaster,
flood,
a flood disaster, making
flood
sure you
mitigation.
heard
Flood
about
mitigation.
the so-called shelters that they were boasting about, that it wasn't prepared and in unhealthy condition.
Yes, the whole flood mitigation aspect that was forward thinking at this time of the year, really, when as we approaching the end of the dry season. I don't know how dry it was in the dry season in Trinidad, but it normally the 29th or 30th of May is always the cutoff date for the dry entering into the rainy season.
Well,
So
action started already. We know that, with the
yeah,
rain. And but they would publish things, when these so-called situation arrives that like things as such order. We have this and we have that, and they're publishing numbers, and when you get to realize the place is unhealthy and unprepared.
yeah, but now you're beginning to see there. I think what they're doing really at the same time, while they're exposing the lies that we were, told to the public. A lot of things were lies, and they will unearth a lot more lies as they're going forward because um, things were not done, but yet it was said that they were done. But what gets me more about this, Gary, is where was the budget? The budget for all of these things was spent. The monies were spent, but where did it go? What was produced? What was the output of these expenditure? I don't see much being done or said about those things. And the press, as I always say, the press, the chamber, commerce, and so on, they were so dormant and silent about all these things. From the delivery of services, delivery of capital expenditure and capital achievements, the infrastructure. Nobody questioned and nobody asked these questions. And they are not the hard questions. They are just the average questions someone will know. Example, we're building a highway from A to B. Okay, how much kilometers is this road and what is the cost? When is it due for completion? Who are the contractors? And these sorts of things. But everything was done in secrecy. And every time you say, oh, this is a $30 million road, but the final cost is $42 million. Another 30% cost overruns. Hey, that seemed to be the norm. But nobody
Well,
knows.
looking like a few days ago we were discussing the article in the May 11th Sunday paper, where 64% borrowing, right?
Yeah. One way
In comparison to the PPG government, and nothing substantial, really substantial to show. They couldn't even manage our healthcare system properly. Forget the part about building anything extra. They couldn't even sustain it. Now,
that's
oh
a
Lord.
that's a thing, Gary. Instead of manage, they had a 500 million hole, payables that had not been paid. So not only managing it, they have failed to manage it. That's the correct word. Failure.
This kind of information has to be remain in bold print in front of people's eyes, because they will try to deny all of this that happened. So we have to publish this as much as possible, to see what, they have nothing to really show here.
Nothing.
So they have to really give account, but they really have to give account, how this money was spent, because we don't see anything.
And I really think that some of these former ministers should, be made lessons out of them, because by doing nothing, that means you're sanctioning the system. That's okay to stay, it's okay to stay and so on and do what you did. By the way, I just got an email that they sanctioned the manifestos into the manifestos. Someone is just sending me that from Trinidad.
Yeah. So the audacity of them still to talk, as this information begins to reveal, we know we're dealing with some shameless people here, and the boldface TSTT board resigned, and that's good to see. They have the audacity to talk. I see Mr. Lakram Budu, Minister of Health, is addressing the failure in the nurses exam, he's going to investigate that. He's going to investigate that what's taking place.
Someone, I think it was in the mathematics curriculum, they're feeling a lot of failures in that side of it. That was one of the main subjects that a lot of nurses failed. So there have to be something, either the catchment pool or the people who have been selected to do nursing, or whoever selected these persons to do nursing didn't account for these things. They did not try to, see if they had the minimum qualifications to pursue nursing. Because nursing today is not how nursing was, 10 years ago, 15 years ago. You have to use a lot more equipment. When a nurse go to a patient, she goes with a station, with a computer, a laptop, and the entire history is showing up on the screen there. So all your medication list, everything. One time, the next doctor coming to see you, coming to give you a medication, and so on. So,
well, we would have to provide the additional touch up for these nurses. So whatever they feel, they have to take some classes over, and you give them the necessary assistance to succeed.
Yes, but they have to have a certain level, a minimum level of intelligence, because everything on a computer is number related. Everything is number. Every 2 hours, they give this person X amount of X millimeters, X milliliters of something. They enter into the system every time they come by a ward, and they empty your bedpan. That is also logged. And the quantity is also logged in the system. That is how comprehensive the system is. Now, if you don't know how much is 45 milliliters or 10 milliliters of an injection, and you don't know these things, you can very well be given somebody an injection at 3 o'clock in the morning, and you don't know what the heck you did.
They just have to be just re-educated, and they need a little touch up on it, and I'm sure we could fix that. These people dedicated themselves to becoming a nurse, and where the system fell through, we will catch it up and make that possible.
Yeah, it's a learning curve. Like everything else, there's a learning curve. I agree with that. There is a learning curve, but for most of the batch or most of the nurses not being able to pass that particular part of the exam, it says something that you can tie back that to the school curriculum as well. If they're meeting the output, what is required. So it has the ripple effects of not being or not getting the proper education at the high school level. So that was a good thing. But the takeaways from today was really the incorporation of the manifestos into the overall manifesto. I think that was good. The situation with WASA and really getting after them with their top-heavy management and putting that to rest. The TSTT guy retired, actually quitting the chairman. Was he the chairman of the board, or he was the manager? I can't recall at this time.
Well, it started with the chairman. He was the one giving the most trouble, and then they said all 9 of them wasn't resigning, and then
right.
I sure they got convinced of how they should conduct themselves, right? Yes, government change is obvious that this is a normal thing. You know that you've been in the system way before me. I'm just the new guy on the block here. And that's the norm with them to try to give us trouble to hold position, because Trinidad and Tobago is P&M country, and it belongs to the Cosa Nostra, so they want to show they could bully us, right?
One time, just clean your desk, they come and tell you, keen on this. That's it. The next day. So,
I mean, we saw what happened with the governor of the central bank. We saw what happened to, I mean, a lot of people. They were kicked out before their term. They come in like bandits and take over the place. But
yeah.
I mean, to see how much money spent, and I mean, to see we don't have anything that is totally unacceptable. I mean, where's the voice of the people now? Where's your voice? Where's your voice? You know, well, we'll
And,
see what happens in the next couple months.
and
I'm
not only
sure.
that, it's not the voice of the people. People didn't have any voice at all. But
You,
more so, what happened to the
you
voices
being
of
the threatened, being threatened and bully was the other thing too.
yes, that's part of it. But what about the voices of those who are, well placed in government jobs or different organizations that said nothing, starting from the religious organizations, the business organizations, all these clubs and
But
so on.
I hold TTPS personally responsible because people didn't have the confidence that they could go and make a report and get a course of action.
Yeah.
But that will fix soon too. That will fix soon too. So we see where the former commissioner was sent on leave because she only had like a day and a half or half a day remaining on her contract. So that situation will be handled by the Police Service Commission.
Yes, the commission has to see about that. And I think she has gone on leave,
Leave, yeah.
66 days leave. So without receiving any correspondence subsequently. So that's another flaw in the system.
Well, the government says that they're looking for someone more tactical, and the lady was more like an accountant. And I
Well,
mean, she was a very nice person. That's not the thing about it. Is we needed somebody who can be more, how to say, more aggressive in the job and getting the job more effectively done. You have to take a fearless person, but it is not more than one person has to run the show.
correct,
Yeah, we need an
correct.
administration that's all on board with each other. Um, not just the commissioner. I mean, there's quite a bit of people I would say have to be changed there. Let's see what happens. But in my view, I mean, if you sat there and tolerated the ills and allowed the police force to rot, and you happen to be a senior officer and you never said anything, and if you did, show it to us. Show the government, not necessarily us. Show the government where you spoke up. And you try to get the situation addressed because the level of how things deteriorated, um, breaking the citizen trust in the TTPS,
Yes,
betraying their trust, um, you know, the amount of equipment damage. I mean, do we hold people accountable for damaging government property? They just can mash it up and push it aside, and we know some of these things were done by purpose with some people, but at the same time, the roads. I mean, in one aspect too, is to be blamed, and the government is to be blamed for the damages on some of these vehicles.
absolutely.
With the failure to maintain it, we have some lake-sized potholes.
I
So
saw that one yesterday on that Papuri road. That is kind of
and we have
scary.
many like that, much worse.
Uh, all over, all over. But I don't want to imagine I driving in the night and it's raining and you don't know where the middle of the road is. You may think on the left hand side, but if you drive on the left hand side, you know where you're going to end up in that ditch or that
I mean,
valley.
over the years, we had so many people over the cliffs. That road to Toko, I guess by the lighthouse, I went there in 2010, and I was like so scared. I mean, somebody bad drive you and you off the cliff, and then we had some incidents after that. Where people ended up in the ocean at the end of
Uh-huh.
that precipice there. And I mean, that's a big drop. That's a very big drop. You survive that, you're lucky.
you know.
And we know how people driving right now in the country. You know,
Well, people are driving to avoid the potholes, eh? So that's
but not only
part of
that,
it.
they're not only driving to avoid the potholes, they're driving recklessly, bad
Yeah,
driving people. They're running up on the side, on the curb, I mean the sidewalk, and the access road for the highway. They're just on the edge of the road. They're just on the shoulder. They're just
in, in and
and
out of,
and
yeah,
passing going up the road.
in and out
So
of the shoulder.
yeah, the speed they want to drive. I mean, you really can't. It's not safe to do that, and you put in your life at danger, and also you put in others at danger. But you can't seem to reason with some people, and this is because we have failed to maintain police patrols on the road. They take those 200 motorbikes and they polish it and keep it in the garage, and it's there for the decor. It's decoration, right? Because
Yeah,
and
official.
parades,
Those are
not
for
there for enforcing public safety.
official functions only. Parades, you know. Yeah, so generally I thought was a very fruitful, session today. I see at least the seeds for a lot of improvements being laid. It's just barely 2 weeks the government is in place, not even 2 weeks as yet, but still what has been done and the clarity and which these, you know, jobs, or these proposals, or what are they going to do, their plans, you know, you got an idea. You, as a public, as the public, you can see a structured approach being established through, coordination, investigation, and you know, who why didn't we know that? For example, there were 34 senior managers being hired on in excess of $100,000 salary per month. How come nobody knew that?
And from the time they hire, what accomplishments did we get?
That's what I'm saying. If you're hiring somebody, you tie to a deliverable, right? To a some strategic goal. Okay, there's 5 persons who I'm hiring here. They're in charge of ensuring that water in the Southland will be improving from X gallons per day to Y gallons per day, X plus Y gallons per day. But there was nothing like that. Nothing was tied to their salary, or no deliverables were tied to their salary. Not to mention the other perks they were getting. So it's been like that across the board in Trinidad. Every system right now is broken. So this government has come on stream and create new systems or mend some of the existing systems, and along with good legislation, good policies, employing the right type of people meaning those with the requisite HR capabilities, that you have to man your operations with these people so that you can ensure that your manifesto, now not the manifesto, but the manifesto, you can come back in a couple of years, not on year 5, but a couple of years, and do, appraisal and see how far we have gone. Where did we fall short? Or where have we exceeded our expectation? So by year 4 and year 5, you can know where you're standing as far as delivery of your goals. So it has to be start early, so you get a jump ahead in your deliverables. But I think from what I heard in today's session, you feel hope. You feel hope, and you think that yes, at least this government has a plan.
Now the discussion came about the hanging, and the way I see it, I mean, sometimes I don't think in this stage in the game the hanging will scare anybody. I think what I need to see is the patrolling taking place and the response taking place,
I
and
think a more,
the suppression of the criminal intention,
yeah,
right?
the more laws that will
Because so,
create a more deterrent than anything else. Increase
you
fines, increase the severity of the punishment, I think will go a long way. So let them know and try to set examples from early on, eh?
yeah, and but what I'm saying, those are important factors that has to be implemented right away.
Yes. Hello?
Yeah, you know,
Ah,
those are the important factors that has to be implemented right away. Hanging would not scare anybody. Some of these criminals, they if they are allowed to get away, uh, easily, what would hanging do to them? And then, I mean, the way things are so corrupted. I mean, I have serious questions about the evidence.
yeah.
Sometimes
You
being
see,
presented, and then you
this
have
is,
a situation with the evidence being destroyed, evidence being interfered with, evidence they can't even collect good evidence,
and
right?
that is
That
why,
will stand up in court.
yes, for evidence in cases and so on. And I think this government appears much more serious by having two ministries set up alongside one another to
The
help
deterrence, the deterrence, the
parents.
deterrence resources has to
Yes,
be in place.
and Gary, the okay, ankle bracelets. What about these um, ones they hang up on the electricity pole, the eye in the sky? All these concept with all these
But
cameras.
facial recognition software
That's the thing with
installed.
AI is facial recognition. Once you can get a side view of the person, that's it. What about
the,
the
the cameras have
forensic?
to be working, and it has to be monitored, and an alert has to become with what the camera picks up, so we're seeing here criminologists warning TNT about El Salvador style of crime crackdown. I mean, warning TNT because you finally have a government that's going to take some action and be forceful in dealing with it and send a clear message to the criminals that has declared war in our country, and you want to warn and try to restrain the government. So whose side are you really on? Whose side are you really on? That is my question. Whose side are you really on? You know?
Yeah, so I think the deterrent factor plus some quick fixes like with the cameras and these
We
will
have to
bring.
restructure our community to work alongside the police.
Yeah,
We need people, senior officers in place that the local community can trust. We need a team in the local police station there where the people can trust. That trust has been damaged very badly, and they're bold about it. So if we don't fix the basic foundation of things, we're spinning top in mud. You could bring all the technology you want, and that would not do anything unless you have people that has some kind of loyalty and commitment to what they're doing. And you have
uh,
to engage the population. You have to engage the
absolutely,
population.
absolutely true. The question of community policing, that is what hits home. You know, community policing may sound like a simple thing, but when people, look, everybody knows everybody who in the drop block, who linemen in the street corners, who are the pushers, drug pushers are. Everyone, policemen know them as well, but
Well, we have some senior officers that managing drug blocks.
see, this is the thing. It's not that they lack not that they lack the information. That's what I'm saying. The severity has to be such that you will discourage that sort of activity. but more so the things like where is the forensic lab? Where can you get a DNA test done? And so on. These things will help solve all these thousands of backlog of cases. Why is the legislation not implemented yet? And buildings for these things were budgeted way back when. The DNA center, the forensic center. Where is the physical building for these things? And on the other side, where has the money gone, which were allocated for these things? So I think with a good considered effort by having two ministries, creating a greater public awareness, and having the will to do all these DNA labs and get another forensic center, all these things combined with a willing workforce, you can definitely put a dent to the
Well,
crime
I'm waiting to
situation.
see how the responsibility is divided up between the Ministry of Defense and the Ministry of Homeland Security
Yeah,
as to
if I
which
could,
minister will be handling what and how it's how it's spelled out. So we understand who's dealing with what.
yeah, but there must be close coordination and cooperation between both of them.
Well, yeah, we see that already. I mean, them guys have it down pattern.
Yeah, because if they pigeonhole themselves into, oh, this is my work, I'm not interfering with yours. You know how it is with the ministries, that I would say the traditional way of it happening, it wouldn't work. And not only that, remember, the, the crime affects the whole trading aspect. It affects the whole investment climate. It affects the tourism climate. It has implications. So when you address crime, you're not only addressing just crime. You're addressing other ministries that depend on having a low crime rate as well. Who is going to come to your country if they say, you're one of the top 10, you're one of the top 10 murder rates in the world? Why am I going in a place like that?
Well, I mean, like you and I living over here. Do we want to live in an unsafe neighborhood? Do we take our family to shop in an unsafe neighborhood?
No way, my friend, no way. You know, but you see, this is the thing. So you're asking someone to come. So how can tourism take off? How can a hotel chain, let's say like Sandals or Marriott or one of these big Hiltons, say, yes, I want to come to Trinidad. I want to go to Mayaro and build a beautiful 800-room hotel like they have in Miami Beach here next door.
Well, you don't. The thing about it, you don't know which kind of tourists will come your way. You could be, you could be any kind of business people come in. They won't just go into a country and say I'm going to do business. They go for a vacation. They check things out. They
Of
scout,
course,
or they might
yeah.
send an employee.
Or they get a lot of information from the embassies. Don't forget that. They get a lot of information is disseminated through embassies back to, business groups back home. For example, if a U.S. investor comes there, that's the first line you go to the embassy in Trinidad, in Port of Spain, to find out what's the situation they're like, the political climate, the economic climate, what about
I see.
the labor situation. They check these things out before anybody comes on or goes down, I should say, to talk about an investment. And once you have these negative, advisories coming on time over time and updated every 2 and 3 months, it tells you that the situation is not getting better.
I saw Dr. Ashford trying to join. Dr. Ashford, you should come back in. Somehow you dropped out. You could try coming back in.
Yeah, so that's what I'm saying. It has to be, things have to be coordinated at all levels, even within one segment like crime, incorporate the fallout from the crime is affecting other business segments in the governments. So it has to be coordinated and tell them,
Well,
well, okay, when if the crime rate reduces, people will be much more willing to come and invest. Tourists might be more willing to come to visit for the various, attractions and so on we have. So that's the just by trying to solve or trying to limit the amount of criminal activities in the island, you can have positive outcomes.
well, I want to see those facilities upgraded drastically, and the security, the public, the lifeguards in place, the Coast Guard in place, the patrols. Here in the U.S., we have beach
Oh
patrol,
yeah,
police on the
all the
beach.
time because
Yeah, uh,
up and down every half
yeah,
an hour. That's the rescue teams, the
yeah.
police team, lifeguard supervisors
And
come in.
I do want to encourage our people to use life vests when they go in the water because I mean a water current you never know. I mean how how things can work out and you might be in not so much of a deep water and you can get pulled with the water current. So
Yeah.
this is something has to be encouraged in our country with life vests. To
And
go in the water with a life vest.
yeah, there's skills, life saving skills and all along these things too as well. But remember, they don't have sufficient lifeguards to man all the beaches, and people don't know what rip currents are. Some of them I saw several times walking right into a rip current, right in. They don't know. They just don't know.
But that whole lifeguard structure was mismanaged and mistreated also.
Yes, but the public sensitization is always good. You always take some lessons and out in the case of difficulty you're in a life, if you're in a rip current, what do you do? Like basic things they teach you here in school that you swim out with the rip current. You don't try to fight it. Basically, that's what you're trying to say. Don't fight the current. Just swim with the current. And once you reach a safe distance, then you start to swim to the side.
Yeah, but what I'm saying to you, if you have on a safety vest, it is best.
Oh yeah,
You have
I
better
mean,
chances. So I mean, we spend a lot of money on all kinds of luxury, and this is something that is that will help you save your life. So I would like to encourage that and promote that kind of thing.
especially in the eastern seafront in Trinidad, the waters there are different. A lot of rip currents there. Like in Miami Beach here, it's like every 200-300 feet, you see the rip currents coming along shore. So you can spot it right away. If you on the shoreline, you can spot it right away. But when you're in the water, it's difficult for you to see it. So you have to some sensitization has to be done to people generally, beachgoers and so on who go frequently knows about it. But people who go once a month or once every 6 months to the beach will not know these things. I used to be in the beach every other day. So I know I can spot it right away and I keep out from this thing. I think Mr. Ashwat Maharaj is trying to get in.
I saw him earlier, but I don't see him come back. I don't know what's
Yeah.
going on. But
It says Gary has to let me in.
yeah, but I'm not seeing him. He has to click on the thing and come back in.
Should I chat?
Yeah, he has to click and follow the link all the way in because I'm not. He's not showing up.
Okay. Follow the link.
Just come back in, do the same process. But he came in, and as when I tried to add him, he dropped out.
Mm.
So maybe it's his phone. I don't know if he's using his phone or his laptop. Let me call him. Let me call him in the meantime.
All right.
So you could carry on in the meantime. Let me just call him.
All right, I don't think Dr. Param will be joining us today. He's engaged otherwise, so he's one of our regular medical doctor to give his viewpoint on healthcare and health systems and how to make it more efficient. So he's not here today. Dr. Ashford is our regular finance guy. He's one of the professors in finance here, so he has his ideas and so on with respect to generating and raising capital is good and leading for us. Gary is the workhorse behind it all, who pulls everything together every night. I myself do some commentary when I have the time, which I do have now. And our regular commentators from Trinidad, sometimes Dr. Ramroop with the disaster management team. Welcome.
Okay.
Yeah, we get Dr.
Mark.
Ashford in. So
Yeah. What guys talking about? This here guy talking about talking Miami Beach and all the beach. You're talking about the beach today. What are we talking about today? The beach?
well, we were covering the press conference. I mean, we saw everything that we were talking about put in place. I mean, the government is on the ground and they're rolling out with exactly what we talk about for as disaster preparation and all this kind of stuff. So we're kind of very proud of that. But we're just recommending that we want to see, if you're promoting tourism, you must promote a safe and clean environment, which is needed. The infrastructure around our beaches and tourist attraction needs to be maintained, upgraded, and provide a sense of security with the patrolling, and things like that. So this is some of the things that I mean, that's how you build, your tourism. In the sense that none of us wants to go now on safe area to the beach, or we go now on safe area to shop here in the United States. We avoid certain communities because the risk is so high. So why would tourists or investors are tourists too? They come and they look and see what their best option is.
So,
So Dr. Maharaj, you could jump in there.
so you're talking about the tourism minister meet to get cracking. Is that what you're saying?
Well, we all have to get cracking. I mean, and as far as we see, they are all collaborating, which we were very impressed with the press conference today, which are what we could have picked up. I mean, you're seeing a team fully incorporated, and on the same page, and on the job. They're on the job.
The interministerial teams that have been set up. So there is collaboration and coordination among the various ministers. And that was one of our main points when we started a couple of weeks ago, to make sure that, the left hand knows what the right hand is doing and like that. So the Ministry of Public Admin should be involved with the Ministry of Education and the Ministry of Tertiary Education, as well as the various state agencies like iGov, TT, and so on, to coordinate. And that is exactly what they're doing, not to mention the Ministry of Planning and the Ministry of Finance. They all have to be involved in, let's say, in basically any given project. For example, Dr. Dowlett, Minister of Education, was talking about the laptop project today, that they are going to do it and have it ready at the opening of the next school term. So this is the level of coordination we like to see happening.
And they're adding the AI, we
Yeah,
big on the AI.
I was so happy that that did that, because we are falling way, way behind the curve right now.
How many did Geraldine John say anything? No? Yeah?
Yes, she said a little things here. It's
The
about the
Ministry of Local Government and Ministry of Works are collaborating to deal with the flooding issue.
the coordination between those two ministries to handle the flood mitigation side of things.
So out of all, so who were the missing ministers today? Important ones. It sounds like Roger wasn't there, Alexander, I think.
But
The Minister of
Mr.
Justice was there.
Wayne Sturge was there.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yes.
Minister of
Yeah.
Defense.
And the Minister of Finance wasn't there, was he?
I didn't hear.
No, I didn't see him. So apparently there there are people who are sent out to address funding for us. There are people in Washington. Mr. Sarat Singh is in Washington seeking funding for TNT so that we can move ahead with what we're trying to get done.
Right. No, I'm just I just find out about Roger Alexander.
No. I'm just saying, that's so the government is on the job, and they all collaborating. They're all on the same page. I mean, just imagine the issue with the Shogunas North Secondary School, and there was I think some kind of sewage backing up there, and they sorted it out. They all worked out the situation between the Ministry of Education, Public Utilities, and whoever needed to get involved. But there was full collaboration, up and running, the issue resolved because they thought the kids wouldn't have been able to go to school. And they were getting ready to provide the laptops and to do online classes, but they were able to sort it out. So the kids are coming back to school tomorrow.
It ever occurred to any one of you, Sumant, that since do you have any? You might know, Sumant. You might know the answer to the question. I know if my friend here were vet here, I know almost everything, but maybe Sumant, you might know. How many laptops did they purchase that whatever year it was, 2010 or 2011, whatever, but thousands or hundreds?
For the 5-year period, pretty close to 90,000 was purchased.
Wow. They ever try to get Dell or somebody to set up a plant down there to manufacture these things? Because that's a lot. They should bring a plant here somewhere in the West Indies, Trinidad for that matter.
Yeah, that will have to be down the road. We're not even close to ready for that.
No, but they did it already. What they did it already, that's a big lot. I'd have tried to get them, I would have tried to negotiate with them to move some kind of operations in Trinidad. We need the foreign exchange, and we have a regular market for them.
The people that makes the laptop is the Japanese and so on, and Chinese people are making these equipment. So
yeah, but they're assembled in America. They're assembled in America.
Yeah, they assemble in America. So why not assemble it in Trinidad?
So, that's the point.
Yeah. So I mean, it's in. I'm sure it's in the works. It's just a matter of getting things in gear. We will see that happen.
I thought about that since that time because I knew it would be some thousands. I don't know how many.
Yeah, it's 18 to 20,000. Yeah, then it was 20,000 we purchased, not 2011.
And not only assemble for the Trinidad, but they're assembling for Barbados and assembling. Who else might be? Put a footprint there.
We get a Caribbean operation. You see, that saves us because if you look at it, and I raised this issue before, right? Goods made in China, right? We have to get US dollars to buy it. You understand that? Because who's managing the distribution, right? So why should we have to get US dollars and be under so much stress to buy goods made in China? We should be able to work something out with the Chinese and the Japanese government, right? And eliminate this nonsense.
Well, that is why I have exchange of trade. If you sell to China and the China sell to you, that knocks off. There's no foreign exchange there because you knock it off. But however, whoever had the advantage, most likely China, you have to get US dollars to pay Chinese.
No. It's not only so much China, it's what the US is controlling.
No, but they won't take TT. What are they going to take? You have to get some kind of hard currency.
I'm saying who's calling the shot, Dr. Maraj? You understand? Who's calling the shot, how the things operate? We have to look into how that has been done.
About what? What?
How the goods are traded. How the goods are
Yeah, the goods
traded,
are
the
traded.
route,
You
the
need the
routes.
Chinese goods. You need the Chinese goods and how to pay for it.
But what,
No,
but
but
what I'm saying to you, why should we have to go through the U.S. For a distributor here in the U.S.? Why can't we have a distributor based in Trinidad?
we have several distributors in Trinidad, by the way.
Oh no,
Oh,
no. Is that what happens? The Chinese goods have
Why
to
we
come to
can't
no,
trade
America and
no,
then go
directly
to
between
Trinidad. Is
China?
that what it is?
no. The
What I'm
process.
saying.
Let me explain to you the process, Dr. Murad.
Yeah.
First, you have to set out tenders for these things. There are about 5 or 6 big computer companies in Trinidad. You send out tenders. Those who wish to apply, you send in their, the RFPs, request for proposal. These are the specs I would like if I'm the ministry. These are the specs I want to see in my computers, which you're going to give to the kids. Okay? You send do your RFPs, then you have an evaluation committee that goes about examining each bid based on certain criteria. Then, if you have 6 of them, okay, you say, well, number 4, whoever is that company, they get the job to supply the computers. Now you just give him the details. Hey, I want my 20,000 computer, this brand, it must have this amount of software in it, security software as well, among other software. Okay, and price is already known upfront. This costs $50 million. Got started supply. I need them by the first week of school reopening in September.
I don't
And
know how it was done in Trinidad, right, Suman? But
I did it
when we do
actually.
it,
I was
yeah, I'm just saying what I
uh,
see done here, right? Like we were doing a job for a pharmaceutical company. Oh, the only thing come installed was the operating system. All the software, the security needed for that, we had to do it in a lab. So
yes.
what I'm saying,
The,
so
Yep.
the rollout, we
Yeah.
had
yeah,
to build it. We have to install everything, and it's quite a bit. I mean, you might be in charge of 25 computers and one table, and
yes,
you're running out the install, right?
yes,
So the Ministry of Education would have specific software they want built,
correct. And
you know,
that's laid out in the RFP, request for proposal. You need to have,
right. So
your
the
operating system.
install takes place in Trinidad on the lab, and then that creates job for the people too, right?
Yes, of course, that will be, it's, 20,000 computers for one company. They need to hire a fair amount of labor to do installations of software and so on. So
Yeah, but
anyway,
but the hardware is assembled where?
the hardware is coming from overseas. Doesn't matter where they come. Taiwan, China, Malaysia.
Do
These are
they
the
assemble it in Trinidad or assemble it where?
No, it's not. None is assembling in Trinidad. They do no computer assembly in Trinidad.
Well, that's the point I'm making.
That- So this is the way it is. So we don't have a computer manufacturing facility in Trinidad at all. That is a business venture someone can get into. At least
Well, we
but
have a
then
good
again,
relations with Japan and Toshiba and this one and that one, right?
but then again, you know what happens? What after 5 years we don't need your computers again because the new government coming into stream to scrap the laptop project. What happened? Where's the longevity going to go in
So,
that company?
so the contractor you hire, they will buy the computer hardware directly from a new
Everything,
manufacturer.
everything, complete, including some cases
But not
the
only school
bags and
system could depend on this laptop. There's a market for the business community and everybody else. So if we assemble in Trinidad, that would be good.
They
that's a
could do
good.
that, but they had to negotiate it. That could happen.
It
You
is.
see,
It is a
you see
very
here's
feasible.
my problem with Trinidad people. They want to use everybody thing and they want to make nothing. maybe not what, but it doesn't. The enticement is not there. The will is not there. The infrastructure is not there. The learning curve is not there. So they want to take everything, just bring it on. We go use it. They have a consumer mentality,
Yep.
which is only good to a certain point. But before you get to the consumer, you have to make the damn goods, assemble it if you can't make it. That I don't know what the University of West Indies is doing, but the years gone by, they make a whole lot of trouble about assembly, and we only use it. People think that we are making nothing, and there was a big movement in the 1970s about that. I don't know what happened with that. Where the university went wrong this time, but I noticed that last some of you were talking about feed. I think you somebody was talking about but agricultural seeds and the different kind of seeds and things that we need now. They have a department. You know this, all of you know
Yeah,
this.
yeah, yeah.
Kariri is being paid by taxpayers to do research and support the farmers for upgrading of seed and new fertilizer and all those kinds of things. I had calling them at one point to do some project. I was in Trinidad when I was living there. So I like it's like I hate that Trinidad. We want to use everybody think we have that, we have that. You what do you make? Do you make anything? You make nothing at all. You bring everything from abroad. What you gonna pay with? You depend on the oil on the ground to pay everything. Let me tell you, okay, you know what? You know I'm going with this. So let me just ask you one question. What happened today? I
Carry.
wrote this article and I now know why he didn't publish it. This is the editor of the Business Guardian. Very powerful fella. He been working with them for over 20 years because they had me down in Trinidad. At one point, I was on a television for a whole hour. I think it was TV6, or I don't even know the name of them thing, but TV6, I think it was. So he said today, why don't Kamala level the people and tell them the truth? You all pick up that? They, that is telling them that they didn't tell the truth to win the election. He went on to say the people from the east-west corridor bought what you were selling them and the people from Labrador Point. And
Well, we are speaking to get them kind of thing, but they got some truth today in the press conference,
right,
but more coming.
yeah. No, but what I'm telling you, tell you, we have no they we but they. Well, we also, but they have no time to relax. Pretty soon, give them a few more weeks again, and they will jump wholesale on you. Because they're going to grab it. Every little thing they say they're going to hold them by it. Every little thing. And I know why he didn't publish that article. Because I was telling him that the business of a government and the business of people are two different kind of businesses. You cannot tell me that the government run a business like how a company run a household. You missed the point entirely. And I could see why when he's arguing that way, why he didn't agree with me. And they never published that article, but they published in the you could get a reader it in the checklist in the UNC checklist. It is there. The point I was making, you didn't publish it because what he's saying there is exactly the opposite I was saying. Well, the government is not like a business, like a household where your money come in and money you have to spend. The government has all kind of monetary and fiscal policy they could use. And when times are bad, they could borrow. Companies, and when times are good, they could borrow. Every time they need to borrow. Every time they could use other people's money. Don't use your own money, use other people's money if you can make money from it. And there's that reason why you're using debt rather than equity. All those kind of things that but I could see when I listened to what he wrote today. What I was telling him, I could understand why is he like this. Why does he won't publish that? Because I was telling him you cannot do that. You cannot come. You cannot say that the government is like a business, like a home business. That's how the Republican here, them fellas from South, does argue like that because they have nothing else to argue about, so they made a point. That's a moot point. That had been disproven many years ago and still being disproven. Government do not operate like a business to end, the end. I don't even want to hear more, but they all are saying now.
That's it. I agree with you. They don't anything government put their hands on, you know what happens. Government
And you
should
see, when
really.
somebody say when somebody tell you how to live with the people, it means that you were lying. That is the part. That lady never lied. So don't tell me about the mother been lying. That guy upset me a little bit.
Yeah, Rowley
Don't tell
wasn't
me that
lying.
liberal people. But they ain't put on their clothes yet to go to the battle. You tell them to level the people. They do nothing yet. They ain't get started. You want to level? Level with what? I told
Well,
him, you said level
obviously
the
those
playing field.
people
That's
were
different.
you have to remember that PNM rule our country most independence, right? So they have their people in place on Bush Street, right? So I mean,
I
we have to
suspect
fight.
he was.
We have to
I
fight with
suspect.
them, and we have to do the job.
Yeah. Yeah, but no, they go when public opinion turn against you, you'll be in real problem. You had to right now. The public opinion is with you. You see how the girl come out there and talk. The PSA president.
Felicia, yeah.
That is what I tell you, lad Gary. That I was telling you all along. What is the role of the people like you and I, not the non-parliamentarian? What is our role in the process? And I said you might be one, but we need 100,000 more like you. So this girl will be another one. She came out and she says, if no, she agree with what the minister was saying. Those
And
are the
I
kind
have
of people
opened
you
this
need.
door for a million to come on board, but I don't know what they were waiting on.
So,
The door is
so
still
these
wide
people like
open.
those, when
This
she come on and
channel
say,
is open and available.
this is exactly what I was telling Gary about the other night. That from what is the role of the membership between elections, not the parliamentary people. They have to work it out for them. I'm not talking about them. What is the role of the rank and file members in Trinidad, Point Fortin, Labre, Tonapuna, Moruga, Princestown? What is all your role in the meantime? Relax and hold your arm and watching. This is a game where everybody is involved, mister. If you want it in the next 5 years, you have to be on the ground. All of you, every one of you, whether you get position or not. All of we win. And the fella went on to says all of us win. You know he talking about everybody need to get they say everybody will get a dollar, so everybody give them a dollar. Otherwise, you're lying. When we say everybody win, I told you whether you are from the UNPNCPM or the UNC or PEP or wherever you're from, everybody will have a share in the bread. That is what I mean by everybody wins. I don't mean anything else. And the minister must, and the prime minister must make that point clear. Everybody wins, no matter what part of the
Well,
country you're from.
if the
You
country
all,
is a safer place, you could get a better level of healthcare. Your children could get a better level of education. I mean, there's efficiency in everything that you do when you try to conduct business. You're not winning by that.
everybody wins mean whether you're from Laventil, you get the same treatment. If you're from Moruga, you get the same treatment. If you're from Point or you're from Lengua, you get the same treatment.
But
That is what
that's
everybody
what I'm
wins.
talking about. The
Whether you
service
vote for me
delivery.
or not, whether you vote for me or not, you're still winning. That is what she was meant by that. It didn't mean to run the bread for everybody. Everybody had to get money. That is he put on the lenses, and why he's doing it because you have many of them like him, like that PNP, like they coming out just now. He's wearing the lens of Rowley,
Correct.
or whatever his name is.
Correct.
He's wearing the lens of Stuart Young. He's not wearing a lens of Trinidad and Tobago. He's wearing a lens.
No, he ain't wearing his own
Machiavelli.
lens either. He ain't wearing his own lens
Machiavelli.
either.
But
Eh,
I had to engage him because I just call him on my phone and I had to engage him. Because I think about writing something and I tell him this is why I didn't publish it. And I could tell him, reminding you why it is not the same.
But Dr.
Very nice
Maharaj,
boy,
Dr.
very smart
Maharaj,
fella. I know he was not. He was not a UNC or NR or anything. I know he was kind of.
well, they
I'm
have
sure
some
he was kind of
undercover people.
independent.
But what I'm saying to you is, you have a platform here that's live and direct that you could make your statement. You could bring what you have to say and say it here.
Okay, I'll put a note together. I'll read it one of these days. What my reply would be what?
You could have a press conference right here. I set it up.
Yeah, I think I need to answer him. I need to answer him. I mean, I was on television twice with him. And when again, I told so many of the articles I said, now he published it because he's the editor of the Business Guardian. So now
Well,
when
like I
some nice
said,
article he
this
put up.
platform is open. You have something to say, bring it
Mm.
forward.
But I've told you about it. I was talking about you earlier. I told you they wouldn't publish that whatever I write in because that was talking about. When I see he will come out with today, I realize why he doesn't agree with me.
yeah, these a lot of them only found their voices lately. Eh? You have to remember that too.
They're coming out.
Exactly,
Yeah,
exactly.
give
A
them a
lot of
chance to
them,
see them coming out. Eh,
all these
and
chamber of commerce and all these IRO, interreligious organization and Arrive Alive and all these pressure groups which they had all over the place. Nobody was saying anything. Even intellectuals, all at University UE and so on, you're not any economists, you
The
one or
Law
two.
Association for many years have been silent on many things.
Yeah. So when you have the cadre of people who are supposed to enlighten the population about things, and they were not coming out from the cobweb to say anything about the administration of the country, how it was run. I gave the example early on, like a simple road. What is the cost? What is the starting date? What is the finishing date? What is the cost per kilometer of the road? Nobody tells you these things. All they do at the end, they say, okay, the road was supposed to cost 30 million and it costs 42 million now. Okay, case closed. Nothing else about that again. That's done. But who asked the questions? Where was the information about it prior to it completing? The press and them was silent, dormant. All these associations were like putting their tail between their legs. Nobody questioned anything.
Yeah.
So yesterday I saw a guy, Kamala, here is the headline, Kamala must explain why this person was fired. That's a headline. Kamala must explain why this person was fired. He's a criminologist, a UE lecturer. Why did he ask?
And who was fired? Who was you referring to?
I think it's the guy in the some security apparatus.
Oh,
why he was fired?
Not the Police Service Commission.
No. But that was the question. The arrogance and she must explain why was he fired. Now, why he didn't say anything? Why did the Prime Minister go to the President's house and usurp the Police Service Commission nomination? Why was that another question for him? He's a criminologist. That's your job. That's your forte. Why wasn't that question asked to the Prime Minister then? You see, so they pick and choose their questioning who they want to pick and choose. I don't want the Prime Minister now to fall into that trap of explaining anything to anybody.
Was the head of the SSA. Well, guess what? Government change.
Yeah.
Like the Prime Minister said today, a lot of people didn't want to leave their position, right? Government change. Okay? Pack up and go. They were trying to show, that's like the STT. They were trying to show that they're not moving. And everybody resigned in the, what is called the Carnival Committee, except was Jim Key was the last one to go.
NCC.
Yeah, and National Carnival Committee.
Okay, so let me take that example because this might be clearer to explain what you're all trying to tell me. So Gypsy says, I'm not moving.
No. He was the last one to resign.
No.
But,
He didn't
but the TSTT is the ones that they said it wasn't moving.
Right. Okay. The rule is if you serve at the pleasure of the minister or the prime minister, when a new government comes in, you tender your resignation and let them say, no, hold on. Don't leave yet. And then you'll keep on holding on because they tell you to leave. But
well, they like to conduct themselves PNM country.
Your duty is to surrender yourself. And I noticed what Gypsy said. He was saying, well, Gypsy think, well, I might keep him on because he was an old UNC man. And he told him, I don't think the UNC would buy that idea because when he went on the bandwagon, he squeezed the lady a little too much. He could have walked quietly.
Well, he said some things. I mean, I find totally
being quiet, but no, he didn't do that. He went. So I don't think Kamala will forget those kinds of things. Even though she will forgive, I think last time I told you all about Robinson will say, I forgive, but I don't forget. So I guess Kamala must have been doing something like that too. I forgive, but I don't forget. I mean, the guy went out there. I mean, he was the last to go, though. I mean, that is a, I don't want to get into that one too because I
Well,
have a
bringing
certain
in
likeness
people
with.
like that creates a shaky foundation, and we don't need nobody who
So
will.
I have a likeness for Gypsy because Gypsy and I were not real good for so many years. No,
Well,
and so I have a like.
a lot of us didn't love just Gypsy. I mean, no, we have no likeness for him. But I mean, sometimes people get into politics in a way that they don't prioritize.
Mm. So still, we I shall call him. I could talk to him any one of these days to chat with him a little bit. I don't know. If I go to Trinidad, I would chat to him about me. I don't know if I'll find him anywhere. Here he might be. He'll live half of the time in Brooklyn, but we don't in Brooklyn somewhere right now.
Correct, correct.
Nice fellow though. What I think. I still don't know why they didn't take him back that time around. But I know have a reason why it might be. But that is water on the bridge. I ain't want to talk about that. We're moving on. So the question I had last night, today again, it revealed itself yesterday and today. Because I was saying last night and the night before, and I was saying that from time to get out this police commissioner stupid talk. We want to hear about nobody and not Ola or nobody. Turn the page and let's move on. Please get a commissioner and let's move on. Don't say none of them should. The Benjamin or the other woman, they should disqualify themselves, and the other lady who named Suzette or whatever she named, all of them disqualify themselves. So now you need to go down the ranks, find a list, send the list to the president, and let the president send it to the prime minister, and the prime minister will make a decision.
But that is the
So
Police Service Commission job. In fact, the Attorney General explained that today. The government itself cannot get involved in that,
Mm-hmm.
right?
no, but
I mean,
right,
the government requires a better performing
yeah, no,
person.
we say the same thing. Whoever it is need to send that list, send the damn list to the president. The president look at it and she would send it to the prime minister, and the prime minister will have a veto power if she want to use it.
Correct. Yes. She has the
So
veto power.
and get somebody new. None of the old heads on them. None of those. Somebody new in the ranks. Don't bring nobody from England or Canada or America or anywhere. Somebody in the ranks. Bring them up. I for sure you could find somebody who still bright and you don't hear about them, but they're somewhere hide up somewhere in the cracks. Bring them up. It might be an Indian fellow who I see some bright lawyers on the policemen, the constables, and the corporal. They should be inspector, ASP, and superintendent, but they go, you know why they don't promote them fast? Because once you're a lawyer, your
Well,
job.
listen, we know the politics in the police force, right? And the
Yep.
Yeah,
discrimination and how they suppress promotion, and a lot of people had to go to court
I
to
could tell
get.
me about it, but I
Right,
know.
right. You came out from inside the police force,
Yeah.
so you know, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And some things you might forget, but let's say along the line, there's been a long history there, and
Mm-hmm.
so but then not only persons being bright, the fact that they have to have the capabilities, the stamina to do what is right, and you just don't need one. This is not a one sheriff job, You need a full team. You need a full team on the same page with you. You know, I mean, you
Mm-hmm.
come out from there, you have to know that.
Mm-hmm. I was impressed when Pandit took over. I thought they would have bring the commissioner boy, Mohammed. I forgot what name he is, but Mohammed from Sandy Grande. They bring
Yeah.
him commissioner. That was the
No,
first Indian commissioner they had. Ruta Ramdao, I never get it. Ramdao was assistant. That's the highest he reached.
I think his
But
name was
Kenny Mohammed, that's the one from Sandy
Kenny.
Grande. He
Yeah.
became commissioner when Pandey was there. And again, which Gary is saying, you, that is all we win. That is leveling the playing field. All the time you have those other people, Indian Prime Minister went in and he decided, you know what, let me try somebody. And the boy was, I mean, he worked in the office most of the time. He was really not in the field or anything, but he was good at managing the Kenny Mohammed fellow.
Well,
And
managing, I mean, what do you mean? He says we don't want another accountant. A fella
no,
could be
no,
bright, but he
managing
has to be. The
people
fella
has
has
to
to be tactical
yeah,
too.
you have people skills, but I mean, if you last night I was telling you all about and I said I'm being recorded. But let me just say this carefully. I was talking about this superintendent should come up with the higher office and high up in the Golden Tower and walk the streets with a cane in the hand and the gun in the pocket. Walk down the street. Let the public see them patrolling too. no, they still in a high office, they would never come out. Few of them. Randy Burroughs, even when he's assistant commissioner, he's the go in the scene. He's the go on a crime scene. I mean, I came out of that period, that Randy Burroughs period. I was in flying squad. He was the senior superintendent. Port of Spain. So I remember one inspector used to come out on patrol all the time, but no assistant superintendent.
Well, you need these guys to be roving from police station to police station, checking on
Yeah.
things. You know,
Yeah.
they don't sit in an office and not check on the guys. That's why you end up with the situation that we have here right now.
No, I'm just
Yeah,
worried about. I worry about Roger Alexander. I hope that he could not wear the civil service mentality and move, well, fellas, move anytime it's Trinidad time, or he will get on the case immediately. Did you hear that conversation they're trying to have about the prison in El Salvador? I wish I sorry that the program would have been able to tell us a little bit more about that. The last time he was so much talking about the prison, yeah, he talk about punishment starts when the time we arrest you. They go have a lot of appeals if they. Yeah, that's only. I think Alexander really float that just to just to respond, but that is Trinidad can't go that direction, so forget that.
you know, yeah, you have to today policing. You have to use a lot of technology. As the criminals are always ahead of you,
Yeah.
and you
Mm-hmm.
have to circumvent that, and you have to get back ahead of the criminals,
Mm-hmm.
right?
Mm-hmm.
Simple thing: ankle bracelets,
Yeah.
your cameras. To pick up cameras will pick up a lot of things. If you have your, computer vision for face recognition, what about the other aspect, the DNA lab, which you have to do, the Forensic Science Center. 5 areas you could focus on, and you have a Ministry of Justice and a Ministry of National Security, Homeland Security. Coordinate all these things together, right? And you see, the thing is, if you don't catch the criminal, what sense does it make? You have to catch the person. That is your focus. How do you catch the criminal? How do you sentence? You have the DNA lab, you have all the other things we spoke about, forensic center and so on. Then you have to back that up with the court system. Is there any night courts going on?
Mm-mm.
Can you do
Oh.
online
Well,
cases
I
online?
know there's a lot of things that we're going to be doing like in that aspect, but
So you
I
see,
mean,
Gary, you have to
the
do.
forensics is absolutely necessary. Some people cannot take a good do an investigation and collect good evidence, and when they can't store the evidence, properly, either they always contaminating evidence. A lot of things, police station can't keep the evidence. Sometimes the evidence gone missing. A lot of issues.
Then the DNA lab, the DNA is the quickest conviction. You could match the hair with the victim. I said a lot of circumstantial evidence, but what they're saying is that the legal system has to go along with it as well, the justice system as well, and you have a lot of night courts. You go weekend courts, family courts. You have to unclog the system and leave the serious cases one side from the guy who's got held up and in jail for 3 grams or something, or 30 grams or some weed or something. His case is, it's clogging up the system, plus the traffic cases and so on. Traffic cases should be traffic courts, simple and done. Should never be part of the overall court system. Traffic cases. So when you add up all these things, I think they said there are about 14,000 and something cases pending in Trinidad right now.
Mm-hmm.
How are you going to break that bottleneck?
Hmm.
How are they going to break that? Are you building more jails? No. What's the
So
thing?
what is the reason? Why did the backup? What caused it to back up so much?
Over the
I mean,
years, pretty close to 20 years, this is the backlog. And no government so far had really gone into the serious, because when you see partnership was there, they tried it. Right? They had a
but
minister of justice and they tried. So whatever gains you made in that 5 years has all receded and gone worse under this last 10 years. So like one step forward and 3 steps backward. So that exacerbates the whole system again.
so who speeds up the case in the courthouse? Wasn't it the judge and the magistrates?
Yeah, but when there's lack of evidence, it got postponed time and time and time and time again.
No, he dismissed the case.
Not enough help too. Not enough help. But we wasted time in locking up people for a piece of weed. All right. We should have focused on the focus should have been more on more serious crimes, and then you have to have a rehabilitation process. Where you're mixing young people with hardened criminals, you create a bigger criminal problem, right? Because now they're connected. You're linking them to the hardcore elements. But again, I am big on deterrence. We have to flush that system out, but we have to prevent. We have to prevent a repeat, and by providing proper education, in the, restructuring the community, engaging the children from the young age, into constructive thing, you won't have this problem. But
All
it's
right.
just that people went astray.
But
Right. So let's deal with what you're talking about there. And take the Alexander. Let me back up a little bit and to continue with Gary's discussion. So, assuming Alexander saying they're exploring the possibility of sending our prisoners to El Salvador, but let me say let me say there's some truth to that, which I don't.
No,
But
no,
let's say
I
there
don't
is
think
some.
he's meaning a Senate. I meaning that the probably meant that the policy and how they operate in there, how severe they dealt with the criminals, not
I
necessarily
mean, in
sending
the
like
jail
what Trump
itself,
doing.
yeah, you could ask Arun know that. Porum know about that a lot about
No,
that
no, I
as
mean,
well.
but
Last
I
time he
mean,
was saying that.
we see what's going on there and how Trump's sending the people there. I don't think he
No.
meant that fact. But we probably down the line we'll get him in here and he can experience a few minutes. But I think it's
Okay.
what he's looking at is
Right. So,
the level of
before
punishment to
Alexander, so whatever he's going to talk about jail, and let me talk about something more important than that before we could get to that. And I think Sumit might have the answer. The question I'm going to ask now is, what is the detection rate for felonies in Trinidad?
I think it's like 5% or so.
So you don't need jail because you can't 95% you're not catching anyway. So what the
Correct?
hell you need a jail for? The people getting away by just like that. You need a jail if you hold it by hundreds and hundreds. Your crime detection rate is over 50%. Your crime
yeah,
detection rate is 5.
but I want to start with what's the prevention rate?
What?
If you have 90, if I'm 95% certain that if I commit a crime that I'll get scot-free, then I will take that risk.
Yeah.
You know,
So your chance
being
of you getting
normal
out,
person.
I will shoot because you'll hardly catch me anyway. I'll shoot and run.
That's what
Exactly.
it
They
is.
have a clean getaway. They have a clean getaway, and some of them have help from the police.
That is right.
So if they want to talk about jails, maybe talk about the detection rate.
No, 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 no. The prevention rate. The prevention rate
But
is the first.
that's
Is the
even
first
better,
step.
but they're preventing nothing and they're detecting nothing. So what the hell we
That's
can talk about
correct.
prevention?
Well, yeah, we gonna get to the detection
We
rate, but
can't
I want to
prevent and we
see.
can't detect.
Hey, listen,
Because we have
when you're building a house, you have to live the dig the trench and live the first layer block, right? So the first layer block has to be the prevention rate. Get the damn patrolling done. Roll them out. Motorbike, bicycle, donkey cat, everybody on patrol.
no, but the
That's what,
police in Trinidad is really more in the detection business, They hardly in the prevention business. You
all
know
right.
how I know
Reaction
that?
business. It has to be
Yeah.
restructured.
You know how I know that? My brother has a place in the licensing office in San Fernando there. I have a restaurant. And the police will be hiding in the corner to see who coming out of the restaurant. and wait and stopping them when they come because the guys are going to go get a beer or take a beer too. Maybe they eat them, might drink and they're going home. And stopping them. You spending the damn time hiding up in the bush waiting for somebody who take a alcohol. Man, go and look for the criminals. That's what the interest their interest is all wrong. They have everything wrong side. Including the point I'm making about using everybody technology and you're making nothing for yourself. You want to use the best computer and the best laptop and the best high iPhone and cell phone in your hand. You want to have the I went on trade. I had a $20 phone. Those days were you had $20 phone. I went into that my nephew them have 5 phone. I can't afford one here, but he have 5 down there. And it's by topping up. You had to top up P-Mobile or B-Mobile or whatever the name is. And when I run the half phone, how much you want? Look, I have one, my brother-in-law. How here? Take this one. I don't use. Look at one here. And they give me all but half phone to give me there. And I have one little stupid phone up here that I using for about 10 years with $20 a line. The flip kind like Nokia. That what I had here or in those days. That's how all the fancy one down there. How much they make? Nothing. Everything from either maybe Switzerland, Japan, or wherever in China, most likely China.
That's right. Absolutely right. But you have to make a concerted effort to put an end in crime because if you don't, the economy is not going to take off. And if the economy doesn't take off,
Here's one thing maybe the last thing I want to say tonight again. I cannot say it in the same way. Let me keep on saying this. If you don't have a setup where the role of the party between election, you could count yourself out for the next 5 years. Because you ain't gonna win this election next 5 years if you don't know how to have your ears to the ground and have a cadre of 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 um of special of espionage people who working on the ground for you. Like this girl who come out today, I admire her. You want 1,000 like her to come out. You see the nurses in San Fernando where they went on the nurses in Cuba and said we don't need a children's hospital. And the prime minister jumped on and say the minister of health rather said yes we need it, and the people seem to be supporting that. The minister alone shouldn't come out. Should have somebody or come from Cuba and already coming out. The doctor should come out, the doctor association or the civil service should come out and say yes we need it.
But he show up. He exposed himself there. The ED guy exposed himself there. ED Stewart exposed himself right there.
Yep.
He exposed himself right there. You know, he should resign that position for what he said. You know, you head of the Nursing Association. That is what you're going to say. Instead of say I will work with you, and this is what I need in order to make this demand. You know, he should come up with that was the answer. But he showed himself there right there. We tried to derail the government.
Yeah. I would like to know what is his qualification and expertise to tell us whether a hospital is good to go or not good to go.
Right.
What was his expertise?
Not matter good to go or not go. He tried to shoot down the idea in the first place, which is something that is highly demanded. We need 10 more Cuba hospital. Mayaro need a hospital, right? Ikakas need a hospital down there.
He said
and I'm sure in between somewhere might need one too.
No evaluation. These guys don't do anything. No evaluation criteria, and everybody making statements. You cannot justify. You cannot give the reason why you making the decision. That's why. But everything happening now, anytime the government makes a decision, they should always give a rationale and educate the people, the population, why they're doing this. Because they don't want to be held high-handed for making the right decision. But if you don't bring the population along and get their support with your venture, they will always feel, that you start to neglect the population again. Exactly what you are saying, Mr. Barrage. You have to engage the population as to whatever decision you're making. From now on, right through the middle, as you constantly do that and have your PR team, public relations, keep on hitting at this, that on television, on radio. Well, don't talk the print media, they're not with you in any way. But on social media, keep people apprised of what you're doing and why you're doing it. This is the cost of it, when it will be implemented, who can apply, who, make it for everybody. May the best person get the job or get the entrance to some technical institution or whatever it is you're going to do. But you have to start to inform the people from now. Because this next couple of years will be so crucial. They cannot do anything much in year 4 and year 5 because people want to see the quick wins. This is what they promised me. And if you don't get it by year 3, in their eyes, you have failed as a government.
Welcome, Anna and Dane Ramsamouj. Welcome.
So exactly what you're saying is the same thing translating. You have to do it from now. And today, from what I heard, it was a very good start. I mean, I hope the press prints it now. That is the question.
You hope what?
The media prints what was said today, because they have their own agenda. You know that, the print media. So if they print what was said today, it is the first step in informing the people exactly what you're doing and why you're doing it, and what is the time frame you have.
And the government, now that they're in government, they will have to. They must have a favorite to report positively for them. Like, at one point it used to be the Guardian, then the Guardian switch, and another time it will be Express and the Express. So you need to, because you're going to advertise with them and everything, they will get money from you, so they might be able to have some favorites now, so.
They have to, for me, they have to bypass all the media houses.
Well, that's why we have UNC USA. That's why we have UNC USA.
No, the media house, the print media and so on. They have to have the new set of people, new thing. Television's the same thing. Instead of the 3 CNC, TV6, all these things are pro PNM. You cannot break through in that. They are owned by the 1%, the new print media. So that's why they wanted to scrap the social media aspect, and that played a big part in this past election. Because
social media is bigger than the print media. In fact, the print media is printing what's on social media.
Yes, they got the news from the social media, the various platforms, Facebook, TikTok, and so on. That's where they were getting their information from. They're not doing no investigative reporting. Well, last year there's somebody did an unbiased report about any project in Trinidad.
No, they'll find time to tell us something going on in some foreign countries. But in the meantime, we have people suffering on the ground there, and they won't report on that. Now they go see, they go try to find somebody who suffered it. They're suffering for 20 years, but now if Kamala don't fix it in 2 days' time, oh God, she bad, she no good.
That's what it's saying exactly. How come if Wade Mark didn't bust the mark on the Tobago overruns in the airport project? Nobody would. That is what the newspaper should be pushing.
Yeah.
Well, UNC USA is available.
Yeah,
free of charge.
We should do a newsprint in Trinidad.
We could get to that point. Suman, you could organize that. We do a publication. Dr. Maharaj.
I think we have to contact the Sunshine newspaper.
We could organize that. What they call it? Like our
Ken Ali, remember you said you wanted to bring him on?
Yeah, he said he'll get back to me. Okay, but what I'm saying to you is UNC USA can have a publication.
Yeah.
Right? And right now we have a Facebook page, we're on TikTok, right?
Yeah.
We have a YouTube channel. But Dr. Maharaj, I forgot the guy in New York who's the dude of the publication, our good friend, man, Dr. Dan Paul.
Yeah. No, you're talking about our own Hassan.
We have
The
we
guy
have
who
a friend up in,
the West Indian news, West Indian people.
yeah. Dr. Dan Paul is right quite a bit. So
Yeah,
I
he
mean,
is right. Well, that's right. I say right occasion. That's right all the time. He and Vishnu, Naktana.
yeah.
Straight
Well,
away say right on that papers. But I never say right every week. He did say right every week.
so how about we work on creating a publication for UNC USA? We could look into that.
Yeah.
I already have a Facebook page and you have a Facebook group, you know. But I mean, you could create like a PDF publication.
And use put it on the Facebook page.
Put on the Facebook standards. We could get to a point where we have a website. In fact, we have a
Which one?
website for UNC USA. It's not being used.
You can put it
But we
there.
could buy a domain. We could buy a domain. That's not hard to do. But I just need people feeding it.
Yeah, because this fellow is right. I mean, Suman right. The doctor, the two. I don't know if Puram write anything. He could write a few things. You know, something about in the medical field as well. He could write something strange like, he could put something out there.
Plus, if you want to make a statement, it's here. You
Yeah,
know, we go live and direct.
yeah.
I think I got everything.
But we need people like Ned, and Ned have some research work he could publish, republish
Ned,
rather, update and
who,
republish.
who Ned
Ved,
you talking about?
sorry.
Oh, Ved, yeah.
Yeah.
Well, he published in the Sunshine thing, but we could have him here on. Like I said, we had organized the platform for it, but the Facebook page is here, and we got the YouTube channel, and pretty soon, maybe in a couple of weeks, this program will be live stream on TikTok and other channels, platforms too. So
Mm-hmm.
I'm working on it. Just I have to pay for some stuff.
Mm-hmm.
But
Well,
again, boils down to, as a former policeman, we must work on the deterrent factor, right?
oh yeah,
The-
all the time, all the time.
okay, when an egg is
Yeah,
broken, it's broken. A human life is broken, it's broken. You cannot bring it back.
yeah,
So
all the
justice,
time.
you can make all the fancy political speech you want, right? And talk about justice. That does not help the situation at all.
Mm-hmm.
You're
Yeah.
dead, you're
This
dead.
thing, yeah,
None
this
of us
thing,
is Jesus Christ or resurrected dead. So let's prevent it.
yeah. This thing about one police station have only one vehicle is really long. That's 1940s.
And how much police stations sitting in a junkyard or they mash it up,
Yeah,
and we have so
and
much
not.
of people with skills to do straightening, painting, and mechanics suffering for a little work, and you
Mhm.
can't engage them and and get some of these vehicles mobilized. They didn't want to. It's all corruption. It's about who
Mhm.
full in the pocket. They didn't care. Everybody for themselves. Just like we see with the Wassa situation there. All a top heavy government who suffer for water. They don't care. Big talk, and they're driving in fancy vehicles and gallivanting themselves. You see, Prime Minister cut out all of that. All of that went out the window in 2 seconds.
Yeah. Yes, sure. What I
Party
tell you.
done.
Yeah.
Back to work.
Mm-hmm. Well, fed over, according to the guy, fed over, back to work.
And the
Yeah.
government is fully engaged. I mean, all our ministers is fully engaged. They're on the job, working long hours.
But she
So
looked
you'll
good
see
today,
some results. Sure.
The Prime Minister looked good today. Very good. She
Yeah.
looked like when she was 10 years ago.
And she answered all the questions. She took the
Yeah,
lead,
yeah.
and
Mm.
very assertive, and that's good.
Mm.
And then they're trying to talk about she incapable of this and why she don't go and do that and why she don't go that. She
Well,
ready to rumble and take on anybody.
Yeah.
and she's right.
Yeah.
So you don't have to answer to nobody. You have to answer to your team, and your team answers to the population.
Right.
So don't take on individuals who said, I always asking the same question. Where the hell were you all this time?
Yeah.
So all the people who are talking, let them
We
talk.
know we know who holding the media's testicle, right?
Yep.
All right. So
Yeah.
we have to work around that.
Yes, we really need a new independent newsprint.
I would
And
like, I would like
correspondence
a data,
for a
some
channel
data
here, you
over.
know.
You know, the one that the guy from the central bank there who
Jala Ramaran,
Ramkilawan, what his name?
Rambaran,
Ramkilawan,
Rambaran.
Rambaran, the one from the one who have an pro court there. He that information he got from the central bank and released to the public what they fire him for. The one about who
Yeah, yeah,
getting the
yeah,
foreign
yeah.
exchange.
The foreign exchange.
I would really like to get an update on that to see who really getting what.
No,
Well,
uh,
I'm sure we're gonna get to that point, eh? I'm sure we're gonna get to that.
if I recall, well, at that time in 2015 or 16 when he was fired,
Mm-hmm.
he identified a couple companies,
Yes,
like, and Quartz was one of them,
yes,
PriceSmart was one of them,
yes,
the
yes.
the
So,
merchant bank, a
yeah,
Answer Merchant Bank was one of them. Angus Stewart was one of them who got in the Carib, which all
yeah,
sons marketing, all
right.
sons, yeah, they
Because
were
those,
Carib was getting Nestle,
yeah,
and that is it. Those 5 or 6 companies was eating up all the foreign exchange.
right.
I know one time they released over 500 million US and was done in about 3 or 4 days. All was taken out.
Yeah,
So only the big guys got. The big guys who had the money was able to buy up
yeah.
millions, and hoard it or keep it or deposit it in their overseas account. So this is what,
And you know, Ved was talking about the other night, he was talking about the banks sitting on these things,
yeah.
hoping that the valuation will come and they will make a put on a crown.
Hmm.
But they have people now who getting money the official way at what, 7, 6 something for one, and selling it outside for 11 for one. Right there, right there. The arbitrage is happening right in front of our eyes. That's one of the article. I think I don't know that appear anywhere in a boy, but one of the article I wrote about that. How the arbitrage will do that. They will buy it for the official rate and go into
Official
the black
rate
market
and
and sell it.
black market rate on the outside.
Yeah,
And a lot,
and sometimes the banker get a cut out of it. The banker who give them the exchange get a cut out of it.
because you see what now, the mafia in Trinidad getting a lot. They're buying it at any price.
Yeah,
The
yeah.
mafia meaning, you know what I
Of
mean, the
course.
mafia.
Yeah.
And all
Yeah.
these casinos and who have these set up shop big time, a lot of Chinese restaurants and all this kind of thing.
Yeah.
That's how they send out the monies.
And I get from what you might know is these guys finance the political parties in Trinidad, those guys who
That's
get
right.
in the foreign exchange.
So it's a scratch my back, scratch your back kind
Yeah.
of a
Yeah.
mentality. So again,
And
this
that's
is
why they
the
can have no, and that's why they can have no reform. Financing reform.
no,
Whatever reform that is. They had no form kind of form. What's worse for reform? Reform what? They have no form to start a reform.
you see the kind of profits these banks make every 6 months.
Yeah, I read it yesterday. Some of them making real money.
Serious money.
I wanted to ask Ver about that financial firm that I think is holding the assets. I don't know if you know, Sumant, the assets of Clico is being held by a finance company. That's the one published 2 days ago. When I said I wanted to be a question for Ved, he might know because he was
Yeah,
in this kind of thing.
he will know that in that inside out, but I think it's Republic Bank who's holding a lot of their assets.
But there's a finance company that does the bond
Or the bond,
and
okay, yeah.
does
I
the
know.
investment and they pay dividend. Because he was talking about liquidating some of the non-performing assets for some of the state enterprises. That's look like a state enterprise because it is managed by a girl named Judy Lachman. She is a permanent secretary in one of the ministries.
Really?
Yeah. So I guess she managed it on behalf of that ministry, whatever. I mean, with
Or
whatever
that
ministry she
that
belonged.
financial company, you mean?
It's a financial company, yeah, but it looks like it's a government because I know they have company holding on the asset. Clico. So when Clico folded up the assets, the government paid off and can have a business sideline business that they manage. Because when they folded up, they paid some money out and they give people money on bonds. So some of their bonds will be offering 10, 20 years later.
Mm,
And therefore, somebody had to manage that bonds, and when a bond matured, they had to honor it. And then they had to, if you have a bond, then you had to pay the coupon rate on the bond.
correct.
So I
I think,
thought bet, yeah, I don't know more about that.
or he will know. Definitely,
Yeah,
he will, because he was
yeah, that's his feed. He involved in the bank all that, yeah. So
banking
you
sector.
would know.
Yeah.
And
Plus,
that's something everybody know because when the Clico thing happened, everybody gets serious in Trinidad. You know what they asked me when I went down there? That there was no way you could have known that Clico would have fallen. Because the mighty Clico have investment all over the Caribbean. I mean, wherever, maybe United States too, I don't know. Because that was the mighty Clico. Really mighty because they were involved in all kinds of ammonia and all kinds of investment in the Point Lisas. So I thought this is a real great company run by a great man. This will never fall. So
Angostura is largely
so
owned.
when they asked me, I say, yeah, you could have known. How would you have known? So I tell them, look around. What was the return on your investment? Okay, 13%. What was the return on a a fixed deposit?
5%.
3%. Okay. What's the return on a good CD? 4%. Okay. What's the return on the stock market? Well, that's useless because the stock market doesn't give no kind of return. So the point I was making, if something is too good to be true, then it could be false.
High risk, very high risk. They were invested
Why?
in
So
very
why
high.
didn't you? And you know what happened with them? Because they thought, well, look, if I get in the most money, why would I put my money in a CD or in a bank account that give me 2.5% when Clico could give me 15%? So
Correct.
you take to get to maximize the return, you take all your pension money and dump it inside there. So I asked them, so you didn't put some in a CD, boy? No, you put everything. So did you talk to somebody? But everybody is doing that, so I did that too. Okay, that's your problem. You don't ever risk you don't risk your future by putting 100% in one high risk thing. Somebody paying 13%, and so everybody normally would pay 7%. Something had to be wrong. It's either a Ponzi scheme or you living beyond your means. Something is happening here that is not right. So how would you know? Because everybody I simplify them. If everybody paying 6% and this man paying 13, something had to be wrong. And if you still want to take a chance, don't put your life savings in there. Put some money you could afford to lose in there. Oh, overnight, the woman minister, she pulled she money out this year, I think she was.
That's, yeah, this year.
She pulled she money out, man. Get the tip off. My brother-in-law's sister was she was manager in the bank, man. She give him a she say, hey, take him, look what's gonna happen. He ain't lost a cent. My brother-in-law ain't lost a cent in there. He pulled it out just in time. Because he get tip off.
Hmm.
Yeah.
I
So
think,
that's how you know. If something is too good to be true, then it's false.
correct.
Hmm. Yeah, so that's good for night. Guys, well, I think I'll call it quits again tonight then.
I
Yeah,
myself,
yeah, yeah,
Gary,
yeah. Thank you for taking the time.
Yeah, man. Glad
Let
to
me
have
know.
chat with you guys then.
Today's what, Thursday, tomorrow Friday. Let me know if you guys want to come on or you want to chat a little bit
Yeah.
or you have other
Tomorrow
things.
night, your other guys might want to come because Friday night they might want to come on Ved and they might want to come on tomorrow.
Well, I will see who I get. I'll let you guys know now.
all
Yeah,
right.
yeah. But
I'll,
I've
let me
been trying.
get the
I'm
guy.
trying. I'm trying to get some of these counselors and all to come and tell us about, the the rollout with the Borough Corporation now dealing with the mitigation and how they feel about things and what they see happening. Now, there's a lot of experience, you know.
Yeah.
I know a lot is happening. I mean, I am, like I say, 100% confident in Khadija, and um, we also have Jolene John there. You know, two serious people to get the job done. Who cares about the people? So we know things are going to be happening.
Yeah.
It already started happening. In fact, while there were machinery already deployed, you
Yeah.
know, and you know, we've seen performance already. So
I have some questions for them, but they want to tell me, oh, we're doing that already. Tell me, oh, we're doing everything they're doing already, and nothing again done.
well, let me tell you, far as I see, I don't think I have to say anything more to Khadija with flood
Oh, no,
mitigation. I think
I talk about the councillors.
yeah,
Oh,
yeah, no, no, I'm saying to you, she has
don't
the down pat. You see, she has been dealing with the issues. I mean, she came up along the line. This is
yep,
nothing new.
correct.
This is to the back of Sheehan, right? So I am confident. I just want to see that she gets the equipment necessary. It's unfortunate we in a financial bind, but you know, it is important that she gets these heavy equipment to manage the situation.
And also,
Um,
Gary,
well, she has the authority and she has the prime minister's support. It's not like we in opposition and we fighting for equipment and begging. We have to fight and beg right now.
see how we could mobilize the private sector. Has a lot of equipment just sitting, big
Well,
contractors.
let's see how much. I mean, a lot of these private sector business. I mean, they kind of run down too. Not too many. I mean, they've been PLM made sure they bankrupt them, and the equipment might need
No,
some funding.
the large ones who get contracts, doesn't matter
Yeah,
whoever is in government. Those are the ones
yeah,
I'm
yeah,
talking.
yeah. Whoever's yeah. Well, those will have to come on board, but they know they're not going to do things for free. You know, so we have to manage costs at this point.
You can manage
Um,
costs and you can manage cutting deals. And so this is time for serious
yeah,
business, man. You got to clean up the waterways for flooding,
yeah. Well,
mobilize everybody as you can mobilize them because you
well.
don't want these things to perennially happen 2 and 3 times a year. It's difficult for people. Then you have to
Yeah,
try
yeah,
to
no,
think of
because the cleanup, the after fact of the cleanup. I mean, if you could prevent a lot of that, it's cost effective to
of
prevent.
course,
You know, you know,
it will cost you cheaper than paying out for the
the
flood victims.
recovery is more costly than the prevention,
Yes,
and we are so lackadaisical in our thinking, you know, that we don't make a greater effort to do that. But you know, hats off to my sister Khadija and sister Jolene John there, and we have Ravi Ratiram with them, where you know they all met and collaborate, and I think they have their act and head together. And like I say, the important factor here is getting the resource that they need to get the job done. And I am sure the Prime Minister will provide that support as much as possible, which is feasible at this point because we don't know what funding is available at this point. But it will come. The more funding will come eventually. But you know, for now, we need to get certain things done, and we're gonna see the results pretty soon. You know, within a couple of weeks of what's taking place.
So Khadija Mount,
She called out the necessary river courses. I mean, you know, Khadija is not ignorant of the fact; she's fully informed. She's
so
fully informed about.
she want a backhoe, and I like to see she drive the backhoe though. I like to see she I would like to see she drive like
Let me
taking
tell
a
you
picture
something.
of
Don't
she
play with
driving it.
she. You know, she's not easy. You know, don't play with
No,
Khadija.
I
You know,
think she
she
could
not.
do it. You know, yeah. I think she could do it, especially with a for a photo op. She might do that. Why not?
No, no, no. She's a girl. She stand up like a man. You know, she ain't easy.
Oh yeah,
So,
yeah.
she,
She looked tough. She looked tough. She ain't look easy.
yeah, she tough. When them crowd stand up against me, Khadija stood up against them. You know, she been very hands on. So, um, you
She's
know,
a
like I said,
fighter.
yeah.
yeah, she's a
Yeah,
fighter. So,
yeah.
I mean, two powerful women, Jolene John
Yeah,
and Khadija.
Geraldine has come over rough, but I think Geraldine, I think she's too soft, but Khadija might be a little rough. Yeah.
But like I said, they will get the job done. They will get the job done. 100% confident. Yeah. So
I
anyway,
wish you all
thank
the-
everyone for joining us. Thank you,
Yeah, man.
Suman. Thank you, Dr. Maraj.
Yeah, man.
Keep your eyes open for things that's happening that you may want to address. This channel is wide open and available to us
Yeah,
and our
yeah.
listening audience. If somebody in the audience have something to say, please let us know. We want to give you a voice.
Yeah.
Uh,
Yes,
so all
someone,
right.
Gary, let it be the last thing. Someone was trying to find out, get a transfer for their daughter from Diego Martin to go
Yeah,
to a
I
school.
forward the information. I am not sure how it's been handled,
But
but it went
exactly,
directly.
I used to, I used to work in the department initially that did that. So that's why I wrote what I wrote to him.
Right, right,
And
right. So maybe
there's a process. There's a
so
process.
talk to Rodney directly now because he's working with the person there, so you can give some advice. Also, I want to remind everyone that the Lean and Me mental health was sponsored by All Cancer of TNT is on the 17th, starting at 8:30. Your support, volunteer, or financially is much needed. So please remember that,
Hmm.
and you can get in touch with
Shadi.
I'm sorry, Shadi. Yeah. I will post that. That information is posted on our channel anyway. It's posted on our page. So
Hmm.
I will circulate some more information later on tonight. Thank you everyone for
Okay.
listening to
All right,
us,
guys. Take
I
care.
know.
Nice.
and
Have a good
thank you
night.
for joining. And we'll be in touch. See you tomorrow night.
Okay.
Right.
Bye.